Did you know that 90% of investors lose money because of emotional mistakes? Yes, those impulsive decisions driven by fear or greed that seem small at the moment but end up costing dearly in the long run. What if I told you there's a way to avoid these mistakes and make much smarter financial decisions? Today we're diving into the world of Charlie Munger, the legendary investor and Warren Buffett's partner, who built a fortune not just with numbers, but with a deep understanding of human psychology. Munger believes that to be a good investor, you first need to understand how your mind works, or how it can deceive you. In this video, you'll discover the 5 biggest emotional mistakes that sabotage your investments, how Munger uses inverse thinking to avoid pitfalls, and most importantly, how to apply these principles to your financial life. If you're ready to transform the way you invest and avoid the mistakes most people make, stay with me until the end, because this is going to change your game. But before we talk about the solutions, we need to understand the problems. Let's start with the 5 biggest emotional mistakes every investor makes, and how Charlie Munger teaches us to avoid them. Charlie Munger once said, "It's not intelligence that guarantees success in investing, but emotional discipline." And he's absolutely right. Most of the mistakes we make in the financial markets don't come from a lack of knowledge, but from a lack of control over our emotions. Let's explore the 5 biggest emotional mistakes that sabotage investors and how Munger teaches us to avoid them. 1. Herd mentality. It's the tendency to follow what everyone else is doing without questioning. Have you ever bought a stock just because everyone was talking about it? That's herd mentality. Munger warns us, just because everyone is doing it doesn't mean it's right. He always looks for opportunities others ignore, precisely because the crowd is often wrong. 2. Confirmation bias. It's when we seek only information that confirms what we already believe. For example, if you like a company, you might ignore risk signals just because they don't fit your narrative. Munger, on the other hand, always looks for evidence that contradicts his beliefs. He says, destroy your favorite ideas. If you can't, they're not good enough. 3. Loss aversion. The fear of losing money can be paralyzing. How many times have you sold a stock during a downturn only to see it recover later? Munger teaches that instead of focusing on short-term losses, we should look at long-term potential. 4. Overconfidence. Thinking we know more than we actually do is a common mistake. Munger adopts a humble approach. I know what I don't know. He only invests in sectors he deeply understands, avoiding risky bets. 5. Impulsivity. Making decisions without thinking is a fast track to failure. Munger is known for his patience. He waits years for the right opportunity, while others invest on impulse. These emotional mistakes are traps we all face. But as Munger shows us, the key to avoiding them lies in self-awareness and discipline. Now that you know the mistakes, let's talk about one of Munger's most powerful techniques to avoid them: inverse thinking. What is it, and how can you apply it? That's what we'll see next. Charlie Munger has a famous saying, "It's better to be approximately right than precisely wrong." And one of the ways he seeks this clarity is through inverse thinking. But what is that? Inverse thinking is a simple but powerful technique. Instead of focusing on what you should do to succeed, ask yourself, what should I not do? Or as Munger likes to say, tell me where I'm going to die so I'll never go there. Let's see how this works in practice. Example 1. Avoiding common mistakes. Munger believes that if you can avoid big mistakes, success will come naturally. For example, instead of asking, how can I make money in the stock market? He asks, what could make me lose money? This leads him to avoid companies with excessive debt, questionable management, or unsustainable business models. Example 2. The Coca-Cola investment. One of Munger's most famous cases is Berkshire Hathaway's investment in Coca-Cola. While other investors chased trendy companies, Munger did the opposite. He looked for a company with a lasting competitive advantage, one that could survive economic crises and market changes. He didn't ask, what could go right here, but rather, what could go wrong? And the answer was almost nothing. Coca-Cola was a global brand with a simple and profitable business model. Example 3, applying it in daily life. You can use inverse thinking in your own financial decisions. For example, before investing in a stock, ask yourself, what could make this company fail? If you don't find convincing answers, it might be a good opportunity. Munger teaches us that often, the best way to solve a problem is to avoid it altogether. And that's exactly what inverse thinking does. It helps us identify and avoid the mistakes that can lead to failure. Now that you know the power of inverse thinking, let's see how Munger applies the psychology of investing to make even smarter decisions. And the best part, you can apply these principles to your financial life too. That's what we'll see next. Charlie Munger isn't just a brilliant investor, he's a student of human psychology. He believes that to make smart financial decisions, we need to understand how our minds work and how they can deceive us. Let's explore 3 psychological principles Munger uses to invest successfully and how you can apply them to your financial life. 1. Lasting competitive advantage. Munger always looks for companies with what he calls a lasting competitive advantage. These are companies with something unique, a strong brand, an innovative business model, or a dominant market position. For example, Coca-Cola has a brand so powerful it's recognized worldwide. Munger invests in these companies because he knows they can weather crises and remain profitable in the long term. 2. Long-term analysis. While many investors worry about short-term fluctuations, Munger focuses on the long term. He says the market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Instead of selling stocks during a downturn, he holds his positions, trusting the intrinsic value of the companies. 3. The importance of patience. Munger is known for his patience. He doesn't invest in every opportunity that comes along. He waits for the right one. He says the big difference between people is the ability to wait. This patience allows him to avoid impulsive mistakes and invest only when conditions are favorable. How to apply these principles? You can start applying these concepts to your own financial life. For example, when choosing stocks, ask yourself, does this company have a lasting competitive advantage? Instead of worrying about short-term dips, think about long-term potential. And most importantly, be patient. Wait for the right opportunity. Munger shows us that to be a good investor, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to understand the psychology behind financial decisions and apply these principles consistently. Now that you know the emotional mistakes, inverse thinking, and the psychology of investing, it's time to recap everything we've learned and see how you can put these lessons into practice. So what did we learn today? First, we looked at the 5 biggest emotional mistakes that sabotage investors: herd mentality, confirmation bias, loss aversion, overconfidence, and impulsivity. Then we explored Charlie Munger's inverse thinking, a powerful technique to avoid these mistakes by asking, what could go wrong? And finally, we discovered how Munger applies the psychology of investing to make smart decisions, focusing on competitive advantages, long-term analysis, and patience. Now it's your turn to put these lessons into practice. Start by identifying your own emotional mistakes and applying inverse thinking to your financial decisions. Remember, success in investing isn't about being the smartest, it's about being the most disciplined. If you enjoyed these tips, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And don't forget to leave in the comments what the most valuable lesson you learned today was. In the next video, we'll dive even deeper into the world of investing, exploring how to build a solid and diversified portfolio. Don't miss it. Remember, success in investing starts with the right mindset. Charlie Munger showed us that to make smart financial decisions, we need to understand not just the market, but also ourselves. Apply these principles, avoid emotional mistakes, and invest with discipline and patience. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content that will transform your financial life. Until the next video, where we'll continue this journey toward investment success. See you next time.